Yeah.
Okay, we're filming
Just flip
again.
us off.
Are you filming on that?
Oh!
Should I finish my answer
Also, I
before
realized
we-
I'm the only one who's wearing shoes.
That's okay.
Can they see our feet?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
My-
I'm not even
my
wearing
toes
matching
are
socks.
My toes are blue right now.
It makes you
so
seem
I don't know.
quirky.
Do I have to wear these exact not matching socks?
You don't have. I'm going to wear different socks, and I'm going to wear a different one of these. So
Okay.
we were discussing Quinn talking about
Wait, Jack.
Zach. God damn it! That's going to get edited out.
Call me whatever
Do
you
you want
want.
time or no?
Huh?
Do you want time or no?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to know when there's 20 minutes. Every 10 minutes, just go like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Or do a dance. So Zach, tell us more.
Let's see. So if I remember correctly, I was saying how I think I'm more like my father than my mother, and I think largely that could be just because of gender differences,
That could be.
which may or may not have changed since my father was born. But
Well, nobody asked me, but I'm going to say that I am most like my parents because my parents were Depression era people, and they are incredibly cheap people. And I have become, my brother and I have contests to see who's more cheap. And the person who wins is actually his father-in-law who passed away, who used to buy foreclosed houses and then eat the food that was in the cabinets, which is like that's a whole different level of cheap. So
Wow.
I buy salvage cars. That's how I'm a cheap person, because it's like, car's been in a wreck, it's been totaled by the insurance company, and then it sells for half its value. So I figure, it's good enough for me. Let's talk about our next discussion question, which is, we don't have predators chasing us, and yet we still face stress in our lives. And so, what are the main stressors that you guys feel like you face as college students, and how do you deal with it?
What stressors do we face in college?
Well, or it doesn't just have to be college, it can be
Oh.
other things too.
I was gonna say, like, grades, disappointing people, money.
Hence why I didn't want to get graded. I don't need more stress in my life.
We're going to do grades at the end. We were discussing that as a group. So is it mostly classwork, do you guys feel? It's the tests? Is it projects? Is it being in a discussion group?
exams,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, exams are probably one of the most stressful.
But also, I think, like, at least for me, who's, like, at least last year, I wasn't super set on my major or majors, and just, like, figuring out, knowing that, like, whatever you start studying in the classes you're taking, you're spending money on these classes, and then if you decide you want to do something else, there is not only the stress of trying to figure out how you're going to graduate on time, or if you're going to graduate on time, but then you just waste money taking a class you don't need sometimes. And I think just, like, figuring out what you're going to do with your life, like, who you're going to be in college is, like, that's my biggest stress.
It is, and it is. That makes complete sense. I would say, though, that you can use the courses that you don't think are appropriate or that don't fit your major, you can always use them as electives, too.
Exactly,
So they kind
yeah.
of build that.
So it's not too
college.
bad, but it's also, like, a time thing.
It is.
I would say. So.
That is sort of the general stress of life, isn't it? Just always being aware of opportunity costs.
I think that the saber-toothed tiger of modern day is quality of life, not whether you're going to live, because that's kind of a given in most places, but whether you're going to live a life that you enjoy, you know. And I feel like personally, like with like college and stuff, a lot of the like root of my stress, like with grades or with like making it to all the things I'm doing on time, is like it's social in nature. Like the root of it isn't necessarily that like I'm worried about failing the test because the test is important to me, but I'm worried about failing the test because then I may impact those around me, and I don't want them to think less of me and to ruin my quality of life because people think that I'm a failure and I'm not, you know? Because then, like, you get less opportunities when your reputation is different, you know?
This is true.
Like when your identity is in danger, though, not wanting to fail the test because you don't want to see yourself as a dumb person.
I don't think that
Like,
makes
is
you a
that a
dumb
problem?
person though, too.
Yeah, I don't
And that's
see it
hard
that
for
way.
students too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never used to check my grades when I was in your guys' age, and it used to make my college girlfriend insane because she was like, "How do you not care what you did?" And I used to say, "Well, I did the best I could." So.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you on the changing of majors thing. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do until probably my sophomore year. And I remember going into my new advisor's office, and they always tell you, you don't really need to know what you want to do first. Oh, it's okay if you don't know what you want to know, until you're about a junior. That's what I always heard. As long as you know what you want to do by a junior. So I'm expecting to go in there. She's like, oh, it's going to be okay. She's like, all right, so you're going to have to take 17 credit hours for the rest of these 4 years if you think you're going to graduate on time, and this, and this, and it's like, wow.
That's
okay.
pressure.
It is pressure, and also it's frustrating, especially when you have that idea, you're going to get out, this time, the expectations versus reality, and especially I think the money thing is a huge impact as well. As money is I think one of the big things I stress about a lot now that especially living off campus is money, getting rent in on time, paying different utilities,
this is true.
going grocery shopping, and just different things like that. I think is one of the biggest things that I stress about that I didn't use. I've always stressed about school.
Sure.
Like about as far as I can remember, I've stressed about school. I've never stressed about money until really living off of campus, and now it's a whole new level of stress.
I think my stress, because I don't want to talk about my stress too, I think it's having children and worrying about kids. And so I would think that your parents would say the same thing. They worry about you guys. I'm able to fall asleep if my son isn't home, but a lot of times I'll wait kind of to hear him come home when he's living with me during the summer. And so I don't know if your parents are the same way. My mom used to stay up until I came home to guilt me into coming home early. So I think that's the kind of stress that parents face. But everybody moves out eventually, and then the empty nest is a happy place.
Yeah, I feel like my stress is a little bit different than the rest of these students because I'm only a part-time student right now. So the majority of my stress actually falls on not only working and being able to pay for the stuff I have to pay for, but also on my family. My family stresses me out all the time, just constantly. And I feel like my mom is going through a midlife crisis right now. At least I've decided that's what she's going through. And so she brings a lot of stress to my life. Just a ton. And so she is,
it can be difficult
oddly
too,
enough, the thing that I stress about the most, because right now she ran off to Australia and I don't know how long she'll be there.
Oh boy.
Then she said she might need to move to Colorado because she can't be around me because she doesn't want to break my beautiful soul.
Wow, well that's nice though.
It's all just, but I know it's nice, but it's just a whole different type of stressor that I just wasn't really prepared for,
It's family-based stress.
And so that has taken a little bit of me getting accommodated to because I've been used to stressing about grades and school where it doesn't really affect anyone but me, and now it's I have to take things into the bigger scheme and see what I'm doing and how it's affecting my family and how they're affecting me and tying in all those factors, which is
but that's a good segue into when you guys eventually graduate and are in romantic relationships. And then there's someone else.
Yeah, and relationships are stressful too.
Relationships are stressful.
They're definitely stressful.
Or they can be.
Yeah.
At times.
Okay. And how do you guys deal with it? I deal with my stress on a stair stepper. I exercise like there's no tomorrow, and that helps me. That's how I'm able to sleep, is I exhaust myself.
My doctor once said, or not my doctor, my therapist once said that you can tell how stressed someone is by how many drinks they have on the weekend.
The drinks issue. Okay.
And so that's one of the ways I de-stress.
That's not a good coping mechanism.
No, it's really not.
Don't drink, kids.
Don't drink.
But I'm of age.
Yes. No.
And I don't do it recklessly.
Yes.
I just have a few drinks with my gals, and then I don't get to a level that I can't drive home with because I live far away from campus, so I don't want to spend the night at some random person's house.
Which is reasonable.
So I cap it to 2.
Other things that we do.
I actually think something that's interesting, we were talking about how romantic relations can be stressful, and they also very much can be the opposite. And like, I think for me, I've stressed out so much less recently. Like, that helps me get through my stress. That, and just family in general, I think. But it's very nice to be able to have someone else that's always there, you know, to kind of calm me down. Like, listen, it's I guess that thought of no matter what happens, they're still there, you know, so it's gonna be okay. I think that is the, yeah. And then I think just like personally, I think like religion is obviously very comforting.
It
like,
is.
Go.
It provides answers.
It does, and also just honestly, like if I don't go to church on Sundays, I'm gonna be even more stressed. It's just kind of a night, and maybe part of that is just routine, but for me, it's very de-stressing.
Yeah, I think routine is the big thing
Yeah.
for me. Like scheduling, calendars, planning. Like my planner is immediately over there. I always have it on me.
You're
all
within
the time.
5 feet of it.
Yes, it is. But like at this point, it's kind of a problem that I'm trying to fix because I've grown too dependent on it. But like, I feel like having your life kind of in a palatable, consumable presentation, you can de-escalate the problems of your life. Like like I was saying earlier, like the saber-toothed tiger of our life. Like at the end of the day, really there aren't very many life or death scenarios that we're personally dealing with. Yet we're dealing with stress on levels that are like chronically horrible to our health. So for me, like kind of shrinking down the major stressors of my life, which are often scheduling and overwhelming issues, helps me to de-escalate and be like, you see, this isn't that big a deal. It fits on a piece of paper.
You know, and I will just give this pitch too for positive psychology, which is that having a planner makes the future seem knowable. And so that can be very good for people too. Are we good on stress? Can I create more stress?
Let's get graded.
Let's talk about grading. So I propose that we do grading with these classes too. And so you can leave grades in the comments. But should we have everybody except Maddie because she says she doesn't want to be graded?
No, it's fine. I might add a little bit more stress to my life. Things were too chill.
I feel my own grade. I think I got a B for today because everything hasn't gone as planned. But you know, it's fine. And so a B, my undergraduate GPA is a 3.1, so a B is about right for me.
Yeah, I feel like B.
You feel like you're in the B range also? We're B plus? Or do you think I'm a B? Dang it. What would you say your grade is?
I don't know.
I think you get an A on the sports though.
Okay, definitely.
Your sports knowledge is through the roof.
Oh gosh.
That's
For
good.
sure.
Ashley, what do you think? Go ahead.
I think Will's an A. I think he had like good
Yeah, I
timing as
agree.
well.
Thanks.
What would you give yourself?
Yeah, how does that feel?
And like we're setting the bar high.
I think I had a B performance for today just because I feel like I had some good things, but I'm trying to work on being concise a little bit more. Also, I could not think of the word associated with Phineas Gage that I can't remember. So.
Yeah, that can be hard. I said I think I'm a B. Maddie, do you want a grade or no?
Well, I'm just gonna go with C because that's an average. And you know, you don't really want to set the bar too high or too low, so C.
Okay, outstanding. Zach, what do you think?
I mean, I try to avoid evaluating myself without other people's input, just knowing how self-concept and bias works.
You gotta just.
Then it's an A.
All right, great.
Yeah.
And Annie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm
done
with
that.
Zach. I'm so bad at like
Of course you can.
judging myself in that because I know I'm always going to be harsher than like what other people say. Well, not always, but like most of the time. So I mean, I don't know. I would go with B without other people's input. But
Yeah.
For sure.
So what is our GPA? 2 A's, 3
Okay.
B's, and a C. That's not bad.
I set the bar low for myself.
No. Any bonus points? Any final things that we want to discuss that we didn't? Anything?
Yes.
Ideas? What is it?
I was just gonna say, wouldn't that be a B average, no matter what?
Yeah.
But the A and the C would counteract each other, and then it'd just be.
That's not
Visual
bad.
A.
So,
So please,
Bonus points.
what, subscribe and
yeah.
Love it.
hit the
What do you
like
think
button.
we're great
Hit the
at?
subscribe button.
And the subscribe button.
Which of us is your favorite? We want.
There
Turn
you
on
go.
post notifications.
Touch the little bell in one of the corners
Okay.
for notifications.
Well, we'll leave it at that for biopsychology, and we'll pick up and walk on our merry way then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya. Good luck in your classes.
Look.
So what was our order for the next time?